if you get over that hurdle, then what would stop you?
Shit, man, you're putting me on the spot here.
Yeah. Would you eat dogs?
Yeah.
Okay, you would eat dogs. I packed my backpack, got my tripod, obviously the microphones, got a sign to engage in conversations, and some snacks to keep me going, and water, sunscreen, yeah, just to be able to handle the day in a comfortable way. All right, so this is going to be interesting. Let's see how it goes. It's a very beautiful day today, sun is shining. The weather has been quite nice for a couple of weeks. The place I'm heading is actually a vegetarian festival here in Oslo. So it's going to be interesting. I think a lot of people who goes vegetarian, which is a diet, do it for different reasons, right? And some of them do it for ethical reasons. So if they do it for ethical reasons, they should agree with veganism as well. But let's see, maybe we can call out some hypocrisy. So down there is a river. It's a quite famous river in Oslo. It's called Akerselva, the Acres River. And on the other side is the festival. You might be able to see the tents over there. Hi.
I have a few minutes.
Yeah, nice. Okay. So, just a social experiment. How important is consent to you?
Very important.
By the way, are you vegan or vegetarian or something?
Vegan.
Vegan. Okay. Yeah. So then this discussion is maybe a bit redundant because I'm trying to speak about veganism. Is this your boyfriend or
Yeah.
husband or? Okay. Is he vegan?
No.
No, you're not.
Maybe you
You're not vegan yet.
No, I'm not.
Okay. When are you going vegan?
I don't think I will.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Right.
So,
Or yes.
so, do you know what veganism is?
Yeah.
Can you explain it?
Don't eat animals or animal products, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what about using them for other purposes, like leather, entertainment, these things?
I thought it was a vegan lifestyle, or maybe that's veganism as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so veganism is an ethical stance. It's the doctrine that humans should not view animals as products and resources. We should not use animals. That's basically what it is.
Yeah,
So what do you think about that ethical stance, that we shouldn't use animals?
Well, it's easy to see and to understand that that would be fair. Yeah.
Yeah, so you understand and agree with that ethical stance. Like, it's a good ethical stance to have.
It's a nice one to have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind one.
Yeah, to not exploit or abuse others and give them their rights and their bodily autonomy.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah. Why does it sound great?
I mean, it is hard to argue against it, isn't it?
Yeah, I would think so. Because if you put yourself in their position, how would you feel? For example, if someone exploited you, enslaved you or your family just for trivial reasons, unnecessary reasons, how would you think about that? Would you agree with their justifications? Like, the typical justifications are taste, habit, tradition, convenience, and so on, right? Do you think those are good enough reasons to exploit someone without their consent?
I guess so. Yeah. On some level, I have to say yes to that because I do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Then you're ethically consistent to say that you don't agree with it. For example, for me, I did have those values before I was vegan. I actually thought like we should respect animals, we should not, be cruel to them and so on. But I didn't really think about it. I just went with society and the norms and the culture that I grew up in. But once I was really faced with this whole questioning and dilemma, then I was like, shit, I'm a hypocrite because I have these values, but my actions are in complete opposition to my values, right? So I had to have like an internal look, and I just had to face like, this is wrong, I have to change. So yeah, for some people it takes time to get that connection.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to see it from the victim's perspective and then try to be authentic with your values and be like, okay, I don't want to give up my lifestyle, this taste, all of these things, right? But what is truly right? So we have to really look at it from the victim's perspective and look ourselves in the mirror and be like, is this right? And if I don't think it's right, why should I continue? And do I have a good enough justification to continue, right? Have you seen a lot of footage from what happens to animals?
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah. Have you watched Dominion, the documentary?
No, I haven't watched that one.
Okay, I recommend that. Yeah. Dominion, yeah. Have you heard about it? Okay. It's
We've seen a lot of these.
yeah.
No,
Yeah. So Dominion is a hidden camera documentary. It's from Australia. So it's you can see all the standard practices for different industries like dairy, meat, pigs, fur, leather, and eggs, chickens, and so on. So you get to see what actually happens. Yeah. So
it's bad.
yeah. So what do you think is stopping you from being vegan?
Man, for me, I don't function. I feel like I don't function the best when I eat vegan. Yeah? Like I'm an athlete, so for me that's my excuse, I guess. Yeah.
Have you seen Game Changers? Have you heard about it?
I've heard about that. Yeah, I've seen it.
You've seen it, okay. Yeah. So you know that it's possible for you or for us to thrive in health and fitness on a plant-based diet. Like it's possible, right?
I'm not too convinced. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you're not too convinced by what you saw, and the fact that there are vegan bodybuilders, vegan marathon runners who've won championships, and all of these top athletes on a plant-based diet. You're still not convinced.
Who are they? All of these? I've seen some of them, but I haven't seen. I haven't seen too many world champions be vegan. I don't think it's like super. I think they pinpoint a few athletes that are like. Yeah, I'm not convinced on that one.
Okay, yeah. So, of course, there are about, I think, maybe 2% of the entire population in the world are vegan, right? So it's a very small data set of people. So, of course, there are not going to be many people, but there are some, and there are studies that shows that you can thrive in all stages of life on a plant-based diet. I can give you resources if you want to. And I also work out. I worked in the military for a long time. I train regularly, and I have had no problems or challenges with having a plant-based diet. You can have a poorly plant-based diet. If you eat chips and beer that are vegan, right? It doesn't make it healthy or good for being an athlete, right? So it depends on, you can be as healthy and unhealthy as you want, even if you're on a plant-based diet or another diet, right? So it's really up to us.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
In my experience, maybe I didn't eat perfect. For sure, not perfect. But I feel like my body functions better with some meat and eggs and stuff like this.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think that is very objective, or is it very subjective? And it's because usually it's very hard to conclude with diets if you haven't seen a doctor or if you've done a lot of experiments, right? So you can get a sense of it, and then maybe you can kind of trick yourself or think yourself, oh, it's probably because I didn't eat this, right? But then,
Yes, obviously we're extremely. It's subjective. Yeah.
so if you could get over the hump of being, unsure about a plant-based diet could be sufficient enough for you as an athlete, if you get over that hurdle, then what would stop you?
Shit, man, you're putting me on the spot here.
Yeah. I'm trying to just speak the truth and challenge your beliefs because I think it's a good thing, and I think most intellectual people they value that, right? Even if it's uncomfortable. So I'm not trying to.
If it's I don't know. I think maybe I would still eat some animals, yeah, and probably be okay with murdering them, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying, yeah.
Yeah. And I really appreciate your honesty. Really appreciate that. I don't appreciate that you know these things and you still participate in them.
Yeah.
Like I can't lie and say that I respect that, but I really respect your honesty because that's how we can go forward, right?
Yeah, we should talk about it, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting informed is like the first step to make informed, better decisions.
I'm like I live with a vegan, yeah? So I've had these discussions before, and I know where I'm at. Like I'm in the murky waters here, and it's hard to, like I said in the beginning, it's easy for you to, it's hard to discuss against this, yeah.
Yeah.
So I do understand that.
Yeah, it's I have.
For me, what I would probably try to, go towards doing it in a better way, like maybe still killing these animals, like maybe hunt them or something, but I see bigger problems with if you look in the slaughterhouses and where they live, probably where they live is the worst. Like it looks like Auschwitz or something. It looks really bad. So I would like to change from that to something better, for sure.
Yeah, there's actually been Jewish Holocaust survivors who are actually, putting the equivalence of what they went through with animals. That they saw what happened to them, and it's the same. So, right now there's an ongoing, one of the biggest Holocausts in the world. It's still happening every day. We kill over 70 or 80 billion land animals for food consumption every year.
Yeah.
That's 10 times as more humans, and 1 to 3 trillion marine animals. So, it's a very urgent matter, and we should all try to not be a part of it. And so you're more on board with like a welfarist approach. Do it better.
Yeah, for sure.
Would you have that stance on other injustices in the world? For example, with people who beat their wife, it's okay, just beat your wife a bit less, or hit your dog a bit less, or give the slaves better pillows or better food, more free time. Would you have that same stance in other issues?
Probably not.
Yeah. What do you think that is?
Because I find definitely put humans above animals. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would like to challenge you a bit on that and say, in your day-to-day situation, you're not faced with, because this is like a false dilemma where you are saying humans matter more than animals, therefore I'm going to participate in the enslavement, abuse and murder of animals. Because in today's situation, it's more like you're choosing maybe your taste buds, your skepticism to if it's good enough for your athletic performance. You're putting that above animals. So you don't have to evaluate animals or non-human animals on the equal plane as humans. Just is your sensory pleasure or your fitness goals that you probably will be able to achieve, is that worth more than the entire lives of these animals?
Well, I guess I gotta
Hard
say
question.
yes. Yeah. Yeah, I put myself above those animals.
Yeah, you put your taste pleasure above those animals, and maybe convenience, habits, because you live with someone who's vegan. You can change these things, and if you understand the why, if you're motivated enough, you will find out the how. You, okay, let's say that tomorrow. I don't know. Do you like dogs? So you're
I mean, if,
consistent that way. Okay, for example.
I don't mind. I love dog. I never had dogs, but like I went to Asia and there they cook dogs and like they have them. Like if I was hungry and that was I would eat it.
Yeah, like the Yulin Dog Festival. Yeah. So at least you would be consistent there. Would you eat humans?
Did you see that movie?
Yeah, in the Andes Mountains. Yeah, but I mean, because I mean, we can.
If it's really bad, I would. If
Yeah,
I'm
maybe.
starving, but if no, I wouldn't have it. I wouldn't do that. No.
Yeah.
In your context, like you're asking, I wouldn't eat a human being.
Yeah, same. So I would maybe also even eat a human in desperate situations, right? In terms of self-defense or survival, we can justify a lot of things, right? That's also why we have self-defense rules that go above the general rule that we shouldn't hurt people, right? So, yeah. But in today's society, we have readily available vegan foods, clothes, and so on. So you agree that it's a choice. It's not something we have to do out of necessity for survival.
Eating animals?
Yeah.
There's always a choice.
Yeah. So then you agree with the premise that knowing this, you choose to send animals into these conditions on your behalf because that's how supply and demand works, right? You understand that logic.
I understand your logic. I don't think it's fully fair to put it like that, but yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. What's not fair about that? Because you agree with supply and demand. That's how it works, right? If you pay for something in the store, you take like a neat plastic package of someone else's body parts, they will replace it, right? And without anyone buying animals, then they wouldn't supply it, right?
Yeah, sure enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's really something to think about. And we may have our internal struggles and so on. And I think if you give it more thought and maybe even look more into what actually happens to animals, to connect more with them, because the harsh reality is that we are so distanced from, the process, right? But could you really look an animal in the eye and say, sorry, I'm going to put you through this hell and kill you, but I just enjoy the taste of your body. That's worth more to me than your entire existence. Would you be able to say that to an animal, even though they can't understand you?
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. They wouldn't understand me.
Yeah. So because of the distance, right? It's easier, especially as the oppressor, and not seeing it from the victim's perspective. It's easier to be like, it's okay. It's just an animal. I'm not the one doing it. Even though you are responsible. Just like if you hire a hitman to kill another human, you're still responsible, right?
Yeah, you are. Yeah. Don't hire a hitman.
Yeah. So we have a term called speciesism. Yes. Have you heard about it?
I've heard about
this.
Yeah.
Discrimination of certain animals, species, because we're also animals. And it's one of the first.
We're different though, aren't we?
We are different, but what is the morally significant difference between humans and non-human animals? What that makes it okay to enslave and murder animals, but not humans?
I'm not saying it makes it okay to murder or do anything. I do think I'm not sure. What do I know of your experience? Nothing. What do I know of a dog's experience? I don't know anything about that. I know about my own experience, and that's it. So, what was the question?
Yeah, so you say that humans and non-human animals, because we're also animals,
yeah.
So that's why I say non-human animals.
Yeah, I got it.
What is the morally significant difference that justifies killing animals unnecessarily, but not humans? So I can help you a bit to dissect that question a bit more. So, for example, we're all animals.
Yeah, okay.
We're a different species, right? Yeah. We have differences, like we can walk around like we do. We have a higher cognitive ability than other animals. We can think more rationally. So, but also animals, they have other traits and things that they can do better than us. For example, better smell, better hearing, better eyesight. So yeah, we're different. But I'm thinking, we all value our own lives. Do you think a cow values their lives and want to live just like us, or enough?
I don't think it does have that kind of philosophy, but if it could answer the question, for sure, it probably would want to live.
How about what you see when, for example, there are also humans that are, let's say, mentally challenged, that has the cognitive ability of a cow. Would it be okay to, do the same with them? Just because they can't rationalize as us?
Is it fair to keep? I don't know. Like, should we? I don't know. This is a hot topic, I guess.
Yeah. So
It's impossible for me to go against you because you're asking me like, is it okay to torture something? No, fuck no, it's not.
no, it could just be exploiting and killing, like just taking away their bodily autonomy and their right to life. Like we have no right to use them, and all animals, they value their own lives, and we don't have to talk to them to understand this, because we can see, if you see slaughterhouse videos, you can see that they do not want to go in there. They are forced in there. They're kicked, they're slapped, they use electric rods, and they fight for their lives to the very end. They do not want to be there. They want to live. They have the same basic emotional capacities like us. For example, they can feel sad, mad, angry, depressed, feel loved, family connections. They care for their families, and they don't want to get hurt. They can feel pain, right? So I think the thing is that we all have those same traits, right? So instead of looking at what makes us different, look at what makes us, or what are the same things we share, and that's all of these fundamental feelings, right? So I would say, looking at that, that's why I would grant animal rights and not abuse them and use them unnecessarily.
Fair point. Yeah. What do you want me to say?
I don't know. I mean, ideally, I would like to hear you say, okay, I realize this now. I'm going to go vegan. Hell yeah, I'm against enslavement, torture, killing, and abuse unnecessarily.
Okay.
I have that stance, and I'm going to act upon it.
Yeah.
But change has to come from the inside,
Yeah.
and I can't force you to do anything. I can't follow you and police you. It's up to yourself and your conscience, because in today's society, if you go to a store or a restaurant and buy meat, no one's going to police you and question you, right? So it's at least now, without any laws, it's just up to you and your mind and your ethics, your heart, and follow through with your values, basically.
Yeah, that's fair. It's good. I mean, yeah.
So
Nobody
I think
it is an option, so I think people are gonna go for that.
yeah. So I think the only kind of expectations I have here today is that I get to have an intellectual, honest conversation, and I think you have been quite open and honest, and not been like a troll who's done a lot of bullshit things, and so hopefully,
These conversations, yeah.
yeah. So hopefully I could have planted a little seed in your mind to think a bit more about it, and like I said, change has to come from the inside, and hopefully I can have maybe sparked something inside of you to eventually kind of really get the connection yourself and then act on it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I guess we can leave it at this. I don't think I will go vegan, but I'm definitely trying.
Yet.
Yeah, okay. You want me to say it there? Yet, okay. Well, but I'm trying to do better, yeah? So, like, I'm thinking at, like, okay, when it's better for my convenience and maybe I'm more, like, kind of resourceful and things like this, I would, try to improve the products I use, and maybe, like, for me, I think it wouldn't be, like, I would like to start hunting and stuff like this eventually, but, like, I think, yeah, that's where I feel like going, but I have respect for you guys for doing your thing, and like I said from the start, it is hard to argue against veganism, yeah? So props to you. But,
Yeah.
At the very least, you are vegan friendly.
I am friendly, yeah. I mean, I do think I earned that title. I'm vegan friendly boyfriend. Not vegan, but like yeah, I feel like
I think wanted
Yeah.
not to have reduced like how much meat you eat and how much we don't buy
Yeah.
any milk products anymore. We don't.
yeah, there are some things I've changed, but
Sorry, can you come a bit?
oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. It's just cool if you're.
Yeah, it's better in there.
yeah.
Yeah, there. I think I am affected by living with a vegan. Like I'm definitely trying a lot more stuff, and I'm like, okay, I like more just plants and different recipes, and like for her brothers are vegan too. So like I've been around a bunch of vegans and like had the conversations, and I probably am affected, but like yeah, I guess in some ways I'm evil. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think you're necessarily like a bad person, because we all have like these psychological filters and programming we grew up with.
Yeah.
I've been there myself, so I have empathy for that. But I think the more you know, the less ignorant you are,
Yeah.
the bigger moral obligation you have to actually,
Go
to
through
act
with it.
and go through with it. Yeah. So I would, at least now, I would have higher kind of expectations for you than someone else who's never really been faced with this.
Yeah. I understand that. Yeah.
If you have any resources, because as far as he did try 2 times 1 month to go vegan and then train as he usually trains, but he trains for like 3,000 calories a day, and then he experienced the opposite of what I would expect on a vegan diet, which is a longer recovery time after strength training, more like pains that don't go away, less energy. So I tried talking to some doctors, and they said maybe I think maybe he just wasn't eating enough energy. But I haven't got to talk about to like a vegan coach that might have the answer to that kind of stuff, because I don't.
For sure, you have to. I think you would have to eat like the amount of food I eat already is like pretty crazy, and like I think I would have to eat more in volume. Yeah, but like. Yeah, I don't think it's the optimal way. Like, really, really do not, and I don't see any. But maybe it could be. Like, I'm open to like maybe it being okay or
Sufficient.
optimal. Yeah, let's call it. Like, here's the thing, man. Like, if you're, let's say you're competing against someone, yeah, and there are so many factors into competition, right? Like, there's skill, and I do martial arts, so there's like mental, there's skills, there's your shape, and like shape is a big one, and like if you're, let's say you're competing against like really good guys or girls, whatever you're competing against, and they have an edge, which could be diet. Like let's say I'm right here and it's not the optimal diet, and then I'm competing with someone, like let's say I'm vegan and the guy is not vegan, then that would be better for him. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Makes it hard, yeah.
Yeah, I understand your considerations and your thoughts around it. And you mentioned optimal. Do you live your life every day with doing what's optimal?
Yeah, I think I strive for being optimal.
Yeah,
Like, for sure. Am I perfect? Far from it. No, but yeah, I do strive for it.
Okay, yeah, you strive
But
for
I
it.
mean, like, yeah, I'm a human being, man. We make a lot of
Yeah,
mistakes.
yeah. Yeah, so I would say that even let's grant that you are 10% less optimal on a plant-based diet. Would
That would be completely unacceptable. Yeah.
So
10% is like a lot.
okay, let's say it's
Anything above
10% or 5%. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is the truth or anything,
Yeah, okay.
but you would still think that will justify you enslaving and killing animals.
Okay, to answer the question like directly, no, I wouldn't say that's a good enough reason to like enslave anything. But like, the system and like the way we are doing this is already like that. So whether if I do that or not, I mean, it wouldn't make a difference. And you can say, of course, yeah, but if everybody does it, then then that would make a difference, and that, of course, you would be right. But everybody aren't gonna do it, so that's a problem. But like for you guys, if you put in law, like you make it illegal to buy meat, or like you get one, I don't know, half a kilo of wheat. I don't know what would be the right amount, but like you have to make the law different. Like it can't be illegal to make it like this, because then it will be exploited, because that's how the world works.
Yeah. So, yeah, you did a bit of my rebuttals for me. I would say the same. You thought about it yourself. One person actually going vegan makes a difference, and it's about, from what I've read, you could save, or not save, but not be responsible for about 100 individuals about per year-ish. And you would also have a more symbolic difference. You can inspire other people to do the same, and you can have a ripple effect. And also another thing is that, you know, so for example, slavery in America, it was legal for a very long time, and it took a long time before we changed the laws. You know, so it started with someone standing up for them, right? Even though it was still legal. So we have to have individual change first to make policy changes, because people or the politicians, they're not going to go against 95% of the people, right? Because that would make them unpopular and so on. So my question to you is, do you feel like, with also other injustices, would you feel like you know what's right and you know what's wrong, but you would still not stand on the right side of history, and the only thing that could make you go to the right side of history would be policy changes, like kind of being forced to do so? You would not do it just from your own values and integrity, or like...
No, this is an uncomfortable thing and topic to bring up, and we had this conversation like a week ago or something about, like, you know, with Germany, and you know, before the Second World War, and like who were the Nazis, and like from my understanding, the Nazis were completely regular people that did horrible stuff. So I think I would probably do some horrible stuff if that would be like what I'm saying. Normal. I'm not saying I would definitely be bad, but I'm saying like.
As humans, we have the capacity to do it, right? Because if so many people did so many horrible things, then we have to kind of agree with the reality that it can kind of happen to anyone else. We have that in us, unfortunately.
I'm afraid so, yeah.
But that's why it's important to have these conversations and talk about it and learn from history, and also, you know, see other injustices and then learn about them, and then we can recognize the same kind of injustice in other places. For example, now about animals being holocausted. You know.
I don't know what to say about that, but yeah. Right on.
It's something that's a big topic. Something that's a big topic in your family is like social being in the norm, like in the frame, as they say. And there's a big difference between in your family and in my family, where it's a little bit more like it's not dangerous to stand out. And so there's less this need to be the same as everybody else. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure that's a difference. But I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, I've felt this many times in my life, where I feel like I'm kind of being, you know, not pushed necessarily, but kind of pushed into like a social norm to do something. You know, to be cool, to not be excluded from the tribe or the gang, you know. And sometimes that can be very difficult, because you want to fit in, you want to... maybe it's the primitive instinct in us that's like, if we get excluded from the tribe, we're basically dead, right? So, yeah, it demands some self-reflection and some thinking, right, to be able to do that. And I think... you seem like a smart individual. You're big and strong, and I think you could be a very great advocate and inspiration to this rights movement, and use your voice and your body like a symbolic thing to fight for their rights and their movement. And I'm almost 2 meters. I also require a lot of calories. I work out in the gym. You know, and there are so many others. I could give you some resources just when we wrap up. Just if I could get your email before you go, then I can just send you like some summarized things with some resources, and you could look into it. Because I think no matter how we end this discussion or conversation, just getting more informed is always a good thing, because then we can make more informed decisions. Agree?
I do agree with that for sure. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So I'm not going to hold you forever. Thank you so much for talking to me, and it was very interesting, especially with the dynamic here that you're a vegan, you have vegan friends, and you know, yeah, and you know, I have friends, even best friends that are not vegan. It's hard, it's disappointing. Maybe they don't see that because they haven't really seen or felt how I've felt, you know. And it's like this internal struggle. Same with my family. They've been great in many ways regarding this, but it's still hard. I think that's actually the hardest thing with veganism, at least from my perspective and many other people, is that in practice, when you just get over the hump of learning the new habits, it's so easy. Practically, it's so easy. But for me, the hard thing, or the harder things, is like seeing your friends and family and people that you have admired and still admire and see as good people, they participate in something that you are against. I think that's like the hardest part, at least for me. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I do feel that like my brothers were vegan before me, and then I went from vegetarian to vegan. Yeah, and then a lot of their friends converted to veganism, and then in my friend group that I first got when I come to Norway, none of them are vegan, but now I'm starting to get more vegan friends, so that helps. But it's I noticed it a lot in settings where it's like there are people who eat everything or meat eaters, and then me. It's like we talk about that while we eat food, and I just want to eat my food and be left in peace, you know. And that's what I get when I'm with my family. Everybody agrees.
Yeah.
We just that's what we eat, and then there's no like none of those questions that come up.
Yeah.
And I'm at that point where I'm like, I'm tired of talking about it, but they take it up with me.
Yeah.
Every time they're like, "Oh, you're beans again," no, it's difficult.
Yeah, it's definitely like the social thing can be difficult. Yeah.
But I have a question for you.
Yes.
Because I'm a woman, and it's there's not as much of a gender identity crisis going vegan, you know. Was that something that was difficult for you? Did you get a lot of like resistance about that from your?
Interesting question. So if I understand your question correctly, you're asking like, usually there are more women being vegan, right? Or
Yeah, well, there's more of a like identity, like gender identity around eating meat for men, and I think that's
manly to eat meat.
yes.
okay.
That's one hurdle more to get over for men to become vegan.
Yeah. Okay, now I understand.
Pressure from like one more extra form of pressure from the society around you to not be vegan, you know.
Yeah. So great question. The fact that eating meat and these things is considered manly, and I would say that's complete bullshit, nonsense. It doesn't make sense. It's like this toxic masculinity thing that was. It's like propaganda from the meat industry. You see big, strong men grilling and on motorbikes, and you have to eat meat to be manly, and all of these things. Even with these milk advertisements, like, you know, titty juice from a different species, cows, you know, get strong bones. It's so completely just advertisement and propaganda. So I think for me, I was so convinced the moment it really clicked for me. So I was like, all of those people who are maybe going to judge me or say something, because my ethics, they screamed so much to me, like, you can't do this. And you know, it happened when I was 27. But so I already got to the point, at least I felt in my life, that I've started to not care so much about what other people thought. But of course, still, I was a bit like, what are you going to think? And it would probably be much harder if I was younger, because then, again, like the group pressure and stuff. But for me, it was very easy. And it does make sense to me logically that, you know, eating meat is manly and blah, blah, blah. Because I know now that, you know, plants, that's actually the source of protein. They synthesize amino acids, and animals eat them, and other animals and us, we eat them. So it's kind of like recycled protein. Of course, I'm not saying that protein from animals isn't good or bioavailable. They're a bit more bioavailable than protein in plants, but we can still get enough protein from plants. And I think what is manly about going to the store, for example, and buying packages of body parts that someone else killed on your behalf? Like, how is that manly? You know, for example, you could say, okay, what about hunting? Well, you're not going fist fighting with a bear or a deer. You would probably get your ass kicked. Humans claim to be on the top of the food chain, right? And the only reason for that is because we have the ultimate power with technology and these things. We're not naturally born with claws and big teeth, and you wouldn't be able to run down a deer, jump on it, and like kill it. Most likely, if it was hurt, maybe, and you wouldn't eat through their skin and hair raw like a bear or a lion, right? So yeah, it's a big stigma thing with the whole meat and masculine thing, but to me it just doesn't make sense when you actually think about it. What's manly about that? I think if you're going to be manly, it's more about standing up for what you think is right, protecting the innocent, who can't protect themselves, be a provider, not be a bully and oppress,
That's going back to the moral question, whereas like one thing we might say about the difference between us and animals is that we have the capacity to think morally, and therefore we have a moral responsibility to protect them,
Exactly, that's a very good point. A lot of people, they say, oh, what about lions? They eat zebras and antelopes and stuff. But yeah, you don't take your moral compass from animals. Animals, they rape each other, they kill their babies sometimes. We wouldn't go to court and say, oh, but Your Honor, lions kill zebras and they rape, so shouldn't it be okay for me?
I'm a lion. People say that.
Yeah. And we're so far from it. But we kind of like this idea. So I think when you cut through the bullshit and you actually think about it, I think you will realize that, you've probably been programmed to think a certain way from society and advertisements and all of these things, right?
I see them so much now. Like Muni had a campaign about meat, and it's just like this guy in his chef outfit standing with a big knife, and there's like just a bunch of meat in the background, and he's like smiling, psychopath smile, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
For me, I don't find it so crazy.
No, it was a crazy look. It was on these huge placats.
Yeah,
it was
I've seen it,
no
I've
good.
seen it.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I haven't hunted, but I have done some fishing. Obviously, before I went vegan, I've thrown out hooks and gotten fish hooked in the mouth, even in the eye. I dragged up fish from the ocean. I held it with a big smile and got a picture taken. And I'm not sure if I used it on the profile, even though that's like a stereotypical thing, especially in like vegan groups. There's like how to not get any matches as a man, like pose with a big fish and smile, So, I mean, I see the hypocrisy I had in me, and now I just feel so ashamed. But if I was there just 5-6 years ago, and now I'm here, going out of my way to talk to people and try to make them think, so it just shows that there's been a lot of programming and conditioning in me. Because once I kind of thought about it and was faced with it, I immediately saw it when I had enough information. So I think it's definitely possible with you as well. I think it's possible with everyone. But we have different filters. We are in different time and space with our lives and all of these things. So that's why I'm saying, when are you going to go vegan? Because I think you will do. And I hope you're not going to be like stubborn now and be like, okay, now I'm never going to go vegan, because then that guy was right, I think it's more like better values to when you are faced with new information and new perspectives, then you actually have the capacity and to change and not let your ego stand in the way of rational thinking. Because like you said, we're humans, we can think rationally. So if you're going to say that, oh, but we're humans, we can think we have more intellect than the other humans. Okay, but then use it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I think still that I would probably choke that elk out.
Even if you didn't have to. Even if she made you a delicious plant-based meal at home and you didn't have to do it.
Just if we were in a, a fight,
Need situation.
Yes, survival situation.
I would probably take that elk.
Yeah, maybe I would even do it in a survival situation, right? But luckily we're not there.
Have you seen an elk in real life? Man,
Yeah, they're huge.
I don't know if you could do it.
Don't try it. Don't say challenge accepted.
I don't think
No.
so.
Yeah.
That was a joke.
Yeah.
You go take it out consenting humans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's better.
thank you very much. Actually, yeah, I have my phone there, of course. So yeah, I will just grab it after we finish up. So just last words. Thank you for talking to me, having an open mind, and we can even have a bit fun, even though it is a serious issue, especially from the victims' perspectives, and I think that's the perspective we should have. Imagine yourself in their position. Remember that when you leave this conversation, you maybe have thought more about it. So the longer you wait to go vegan and oppose the use of animals, animals will still go to the slaughterhouses, they will still be abused on your behalf. So if you still want to be the oppressor, then can't police you any further. But I'm sure that you will think more about it and you'll make the choice, and you'll be like most other vegans, every vegan I've talked to, who said, I only regret one thing, and that's not going vegan earlier. They all say that.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks, something. Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the conversation.
Thank you.
Very nice.